Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
Good morning everyone. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 27th August 2021. Let us see which are the important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. Yes, these are the important developments. What we'll do is, first of all, let us take overview of all these articles, then we'll discuss them one by one in detail. First of all, mains related development on page number 6 and 7, editorial and op-ed page. Yes, first, finding India's voice in Afghanistan. Yes, this particular issue is being in development. It is evolving and we have to have follow up on that. One article on page number 6, again it is talking about protecting India's interest in Afghanistan, how India should have, let's say, response to these evolving situations in Afghanistan. At the same time, recently, India's Ministry of External Affairs has cleared India's present stand towards developments in Afghanistan. India on wait and watch on Afghanistan. This is the present stand. Okay, so we'll discuss that from GS2 paper, International Relations part. Then second, analysis of National Monetization Plan. On page number 6, there is one editorial which is analyzing the national monetization plan that has been put in place recently by our finance minister. So we'll discuss that from GS3 paper, economy part. Next, importance of vultures. On page number 7, op-ed page, it is talking about the importance of vultures, the threats faced by the vultures, which are the scavengers on the earth's surface. Very important. Let's say, in addition to that, what are the steps taken for the protection and conservation of these species in India? So this is important from GS3 paper, environment section, as well as important for prelims examination. Okay, so some of the species, 9 species that are found in India of these vultures, we'll have quick look at those species also. That is important for prelims examination. Then, can PM CARES Fund help COVID orphans, ask Supreme Court to the government? Okay, so this is important, how COVID-19, especially the second wave, has impacted the children and their education who have lost their 1 or 2 parents or the guardians. Okay, so this is important from social justice perspective and COVID-19 and its impact on the vulnerable sections of society. Okay, children being one of the important section. Then Sambar Lake needs faster restoration. One of the experts study, it is talking about that. So this is important from environment section. At the same time, some basic information about Sambar Lake we have to take input from geography part also as a locations. Okay, and finally some practice prelims MCQs on these current affairs. We will have look at those also. First article on page number 6, finding India's voice on Afghanistan. Okay, so the article is having the context regarding the evolving, or we can say recent developments in Afghanistan and India's response to these developments. Okay, so first, the present response from India. Present response from India is that evacuation of Indians and those Afghan citizens who want to take refuge in India. Okay, so this is the present response. The second aspect related to response, we can say that the government policy is at present wait and watch. Okay, so it wants to evolve the developments, it wants to, let's say, the interim government to be formed and then dealing with that government representatives. Such kind of, let's say, response that we have at present from India. Then the article in next part is discussing in last 20 years how India invested in Afghanistan. So this is very important. India invested in Afghanistan in 3 areas. Okay, first we should understand in terms of economic investment Okay, so here you can talk about investment in infrastructure building, infrastructure development, we can say, building hydropower plants and all these things, or road projects. Second you can talk about is in development of its constitution. So for the development of democracy and all these aspects, it has helped. And in third area we can say that in terms of education and training. So India provides visas to students for their education in Indian colleges and universities. At the same time, India also provided training to their police and armed forces. So in this manner, the third aspect is regarding education and training. So you should be dividing all these aspects in a structured manner in three heads like this. Okay, now as we have invested so much, we need to protect that investment in Afghanistan, and therefore what happened in recent times when these let's say recent developments started evolving, India has been marginalized by other powers in west as well as east. How India has been marginalized, or we can say kept out of important talks. India has been kept out of first Troika plus. Who are there in Troika plus? US, Russia plus China. This is Troika plus Pakistan. This is Troika plus. These talks on Afghanistan and the peace process. So India has been left out of this. Second is it's being called as Asian Arc. The new Asian Arc is being developed here. This Asian Arc is Russia, China, Iran, Pakistan. So to some extent, Taliban is going to be playing favorable role to this Asian Arc. It wants to have some kind of, let's say, it has some vested interest in Afghanistan, ruled by Taliban now. That's why these countries have not taken out or emptied their embassies in Afghanistan. This is the important aspect. Third important thing is that the economic corridors recently signed by US and China in these Central Asian countries like US, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan. So this quadrilateral economic corridor recently announced by US, this is going to bypass Iran, and therefore whatever the investment we have done for trade of these Central Asian countries and Afghanistan through Iran bypassing Pakistan, this is going to be the problem. This is how India has been bypassed, sidelined by the major powers in the country, in the world. Okay, so you can mention like this, and that's why it is being argued that we need to have new diplomatic strategy to deal with these developments in Afghanistan. And that new diplomatic policy, directly use this as a way forward. If the question is asked in the mains examination, suppose the developments are same up till your mains examination, and if question is asked, so simply write down like, yes, rallying the United Nations. This is very important. Why? Because United Nations is where India's soft power is appreciated. Therefore, India can rally United Nations, and United Nations has been the champion of human rights protection. It has been criticizing the terrorist activities and safe havens for terrorist organizations. So for that purpose, India should rally UN rather than any one country. Okay. As a chairman of Taliban Sanctions Committee, India has been this chairman of Taliban Sanctions Committee, which was instituted in 1988. So India should use this advantage for denying funds to members of Haqqani network who have carried out bombings or terrorist activities on Indian embassies. Okay, so for that purpose they should be denied funds. India can use this particular position to its advantage. At the same time, using September 25 speech of Prime Minister at UNGA, so our Prime Minister can use this particular opportunity to highlight the situation in Afghanistan and its implication in not only in Afghanistan and a nearby region, but also for the world, for the peace and harmony in the world. So this can be used to India's advantage. Then government must determine the nature of its engagement with new regime in Afghanistan. That means whatever the engagement should be there in future with the interim government or the new government that is going to form, already India should have plan in its place. Okay, so such kind of engagement, whether India is going to have engagement with Taliban, or if it is not going to have engagement with Taliban, then at least indirectly it should have engagement with other stakeholders in this government. So other stakeholders like former President Hamid Karzai, who enjoys good relations with India. Okay, so with them at least direct talks should be there. If we are not having direct talks with Taliban, then the remaining stakeholders in the Afghanistan government, so with them at least we should have direct talks and communication, we can say. And finally, the government must embrace its greatest strength in Afghanistan, that is its relations with Afghanistan people. So recent decision by Ministry of Home Affairs to cancel all the visas to Afghanistan people, its citizen, this is to some extent a negative step. We need to provide them visa, especially the students learning in Indian universities and colleges. They are more concerned here, and surely they are not much threat to our security. So they should be provided long-term visa here, along with the medical visas should be provided immediately. The people of Afghanistan are facing a very much problem in getting that online visa, the new system that is put in place. So the favorable position that India has in the hearts of Afghanistan people, so that should be at present maintained. That should not be, we can say, removed from their hearts. Okay, in this manner, the new diplomatic strategy should work. Ultimately, as a part of conclusion, 4 words are very important. First thing, India has been maintaining its soft power. Its soft power has grown over the period of time. It should be used to its advantage. India always emphasizes on strategic autonomy in its decision. It should be taken to its advantage while dealing with Afghanistan situation. Third thing is non-alignment policy. Okay, India's non-alignment policy is very important, and that should be now again used while dealing with Taliban. And fourth thing, we should understand when we are talking about the soft power, yes, so India's past experiences, or we can say that compassionate approach towards needy people. In the past, India has been helpful to all those people, especially when we are talking about natural disaster or civil war situation is happening, any kind of, let's say, emergency situation is there. India has always extended helping hand to these nations, these people. So these 4 aspects of India's soft power, that they should be used to its advantage while dealing with the Afghanistan. Okay, any question? Yes, Now moving on to next article, India on wait and watch. Yes, basically we wanted to have follow up here. Recently there was address by our external affairs minister to all political parties leaders, and in that the official stand of India towards Afghanistan has been released. So official stand is that, like the rest of the world, India is also following wait and watch policy. Okay. Second aspect is that priority of the government at present is evacuation of Indian nationals and Afghan partners from war torn country. Okay, this is the present stand of the government. You should be aware about official stand. Now, risk and rewards on page number 6 editorial, it is talking about the context of national monetization plan and recently a list of such projects, infrastructure assets that we have has been released. Okay, so government has released exhaustive list of projects and facilities offered to the private sector under NMP. Now how this national monetization plan is going to work, we should understand this basics about this. So there will not be no transfer of ownership. This is very clear. No transfer of ownership of the infrastructure or also land there. So this is aspect. Second thing, you should understand that there will be lease and security agreements, security contracts with private players. For management and utilization of assets for certain time period, for certain fixed time period. Now in return the government is going to get some amount on timely basis for the utilization of these assets by the private companies, private sector players, and ultimately the private sector will invest more and more, and through that utilization it will earn its own profit. During that time period it will earn its own profit. Okay, so in this manner it is going to work, and ultimately after the end of lease, it is the ownership and all these, let's say, assets will be transferred back to the public sector, that is government here. This is how it is going to work. Now the risk of adverse audit report about the valuations and processes, this risk always remains whenever we are talking about disinvestment. Okay, so disinvestment in the past, disinvestment in PSUs, public sector undertakings, this has resulted into the problems related to audit report. So many audit reports suggest that the disinvestment has been done at the lower cost. The revenue generation from the disinvestment has been not up to the mark. Okay, or we can say at the market prices, there is some kind of devaluation of those assets. So those risks always remain even during the monetization of those assets. Then sharing of risk and rewards between the public and private partners needs to be weighed carefully for each sector. Now this is also very important. Suppose the government is giving certain lease contract with the private player about certain asset, and suppose the bids are very low. So the government is not going to benefit from that, and the private sector is going to benefit more. The risk, or we can say that especially regarding the audit report, or we can say that risk related to transfer of assets at the end, this has been headache for the government. Okay, so how this PPP project are going to be implemented? You know, after 50 years, 60 years, the new government will be there, new situation will be there, and there will be some kind of change scenario related to those assets. How it is going to be, let's say the assets are going to be transferred back to the government, whether the private player will have any kind of litigation there. As we can understand, there can be or there will be loopholes in those contracts. Okay, so for that purpose, the risk and the rewards between public sector and private sector should be carefully weighed. Then, revenue projections for PPP assets could be deflated now and leading to lower bids followed by more gains by the operators. Now, suppose the government at present is saying that this much amount of money is we are going to take have the revenue from these assets. Government is already declaring that revenue amount will be this. The private player will be bidding lower than that revenue amount. Always. The government should not have declared the amount of revenue. Okay, so what will happen now? The private players will be bidding at the lower rates and later on they will be earning more profits from those assets. And this has been the situation in the PPP projects. This has been the situation in PPP projects, and therefore this is also one of the challenge. Now, in way forward, what we can understand here, there should be national level body to design PPP projects or contracts. This was, let's say, the agenda of present day government in 2014. This was announced in the budget of 2014, but this is not realized yet. Second thing, that whatever the problems with PPP project that had been there, we need to learn from the failures of some of these PPP projects, and those failures, that feedback should be incorporated in those new PPP projects under this NMP. In this manner, we should understand finally that basically you should talk about this only. Risk and rewards should be equally transferred between public and private sector here. Fine. So this is the analysis of National Monetization Plan here. Any question regarding this? Okay. The cleanup crew we need, on page number 7, it is talking about the vulture population. The cleanup crew. Why they are saying cleanup crew to vultures? Because they are the scavengers on the earth's surface. Important role played by the vultures. Let us understand first of all about vultures. Vultures, these species includes hawks, kites. Okay, so these species, so they are very heavy birds. They fly at very high heights, but they have very pinpointed vision. They are able to have a look at their prey, or we can say their food, at very farther distances. At the same time, they have their nest at the tree tops. You should be aware about the vultures. In India, 95% of the population of the vultures have declined in last 3 to 4 decades, especially because of the drug diclofenac. Especially because of the drug diclofenac. This diclofenac drug is administered, or was used to be administered to the cattle for the pain relief, for their pain relief. But we know that after death of the cattle, they are scavenged by the vultures. Now, through biomagnification process, what happened is the amount of diclofenac in those vultures increased. That became harmful. Their kidneys used to be failed. Okay, because of kidney failure in these vultures, they used to die. So that's why the government of India banned in 2006 the veterinary use of diclofenac. Okay, painkiller tablets, it is used in that, this diclofenac. Now, this was the major threat. Other threats to these, what we can say, vultures. The other threats includes we can say increased hunting they are hunted for mythical, let's say, use of these parts of vultures for treating certain diseases. Okay, so that's why they are hunted. They are also sometimes considered as, some communities consider them as denims. Okay, and because of that they are also hunted. So all these aspects are resulting into decline in the population. Fine. So what are the steps to increase their numbers? At present, what are the steps being taken? India banned diclofenac for the veterinary use in 2006, major cause of decline in the vulture population. Then recently 5 states are going to get vulture breeding centers under Action Plan for Vulture Conservation 2020-2025. Okay, this was accepted by the government in 2020, this action plan for vulture conservation in this 5 years. So under this, vulture breeding center are going to be established in 5 states. Already some of the states like Rajasthan, Punjab, they have these vulture breeding centers. Okay, forest departments. Vulture restaurants, these vulture restaurants are implemented in different countries. In India also, some of the states like Maharashtra, Punjab, they have implemented, forest departments of these states, they have implemented vulture restaurants. What they do is artificially keep these dead animals who are not having the amount of diclofenac. They are keeping these dead animals, their carcasses, in certain areas where the vultures come in and feed in on them. Okay, so this is how they are called as vulture restaurant. They are literally kind of restaurant for the vultures where they come in and they have their food. That's why it is being called as vulture restaurants. Okay, so in this manner, this will help to increase their population. Breeding centers, vulture restaurant. At the same time, simultaneously, such protection and conservation measures, along with that, the awareness creation should be also there among the common people. Okay, so whatever the myths are associated with the vultures, people consider vultures as ugly animals. Okay, as we can understand that they are scavenging on the carcasses of the dead animals, but ecologically the significance of the vultures is very, very important. If suppose these carcasses and the dead animals are left to rot on the ground surface, what will happen is there will be the growth of bacteria on it that will be added into the water bodies. Ultimately, we as human beings will get infected with those bacteria or pathogens, overall group of pathogens, and for that purpose the role of the scavengers is very, very important. Okay, yes. Now for prelims related developments, or we can say information, 9 vultures species of India are found in India. Which are these species? Quickly we'll have a look at this. Yes, Griffon vulture, so variety from the Gyps family. Indian vulture, again variety from Gyps family. You can see here this Indian vulture is critically endangered species under IUCN Red List. This has been dying because of this diclofenac, veterinary drug diclofenac. Its population has declined. Birded vulture, then white rumped vulture, cinereous vulture. This is one of the large, we can say, bird, raptor bird found in India. Then Egyptian vulture. In Egyptian vulture also there are 3 subspecies. Okay, it is widely distributed species of small old world vulture found in northwest part of India. Then red-headed vulture, slender-billed vulture and long-billed vultures. These are the 9 species found in India. So you should be aware about these species which are found in India, vulture species. Okay, and especially the critically endangered species. Can PM CARES help COVID orphans, asked Supreme Court. So this is being asked. So Supreme Court is very much concerned about the situation of the children orphaned during COVID-19, especially their right to education. So education expenses, especially some of the children who were learning in the private schools, so their school fees is very high. So how that education is to be continued, this is the concern raised by the Supreme Court here. What steps the government is taking, this is being asked here by the Supreme Court. Some facts you should be aware: as many as 1.19 lakh children in India lost their primary caregiver, parent or custodial grandparent due to COVID-19, according to study published in Lancet. This is very huge number, 1.19 lakh children. Okay, then there had been marked increase in child trafficking, especially of girls among those who had lost caregivers, according to. So this is how they are vulnerable for antisocial activities or the crimes against them. Yes. So the judge, one of the judges hearing the matter, highlighted that information about the children who have lost their caregivers had been uploaded by the states on the website of National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, NCPCR, statutory body for protecting rights of the children. Okay, so in this manner you should be aware about the developments related to vulnerable sections of the society and their protection. So as a part of welfare state, the government is having responsibility to give protection and welfare of these vulnerable sections of society, and children is the most important among them. Okay. Sambar Lake needs faster restoration, says expert study. So one of the expert studies says that the Sambar Lake, which is the largest inland salt lake, is constantly shrinking with the degradation of soil, water quality, decline in population of migratory birds. This is because of illegal mining, salt mining that is going on here. 30% of the lake area has been lost to mining and other activities, including illegal salt plant encroachment. This is cause of concern to this ecologically important body. So about Sambar Lake, it is India's largest inland salt lake. It receives water from 5 rivers. These 5 rivers originating in, we can say, Aravali's mountain ranges. So surrounded by Aravali hills from all sides. So we can say that it is having inland drainage, or the kind of drainage pattern we observe here is centripetal drainage system. The river streams are coming in one particular center, that is Sambar Lake, draining into the Sambar Lake. It is also designated as the wetland of international importance under Ramsar Convention. In 2020, it was in news, in 2019, wherein the migratory birds, 20,000 migratory birds died because of one disease called as avian botulism. We were expecting question in prelims examination, but UPSC does not ask such questions which has been discussed in mainstream media for long period of time. This was quite a, let's say, in news at that time for long period of time. Okay, so avian botulism. The location of Sambar Lake on the map you can see here, near Jaipur, northwest of Jaipur city. Fine? Yes. So what could be the question, answer to this question here? Simple question, but framing of question can be like this in your examination. Yes, option D, Sambar Lake. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that other 3 are also saltwater lake. Okay, first 2 are located, these 2 are located in Ladakh, right? Pongyang So Lake has been in news because of confrontation between India and China, right? And Chilika Lake is we can say brackish water lake along the coastal areas. So it is not inland salt water lake. Okay, so this is how you should understand. D is the correct answer. Yes, fine. Yes, tell me.
Well,
Sorry, sorry.
In question they are given Ramsar identification as worldwide event. That is the main consideration. The remaining three are not identified under such category.
Chilika Lake is there, right? Chilika Lake is under Ramsar Convention.
It is a coastal area.
Yes, it is coastal. That's why elimination method should be used here. Yes, even if you are not aware, you should be using the elimination method. Okay. Any other question? Okay, fine. Let us stop. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time. Thank you.
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.